Well, here's to hoping I'm live in all the areas I'm trying to be live in. If I'm not, then this will be recording and I can share it. So, anyways, technical. I for me, the big struggle is figuring out all of this um, technology. It's hard when you're a little bit older. When you grow up with it, you kind of understand it a bit better. But it is what it is, right? I keep trying to push my hair the wrong way. So today is day two, do, 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 of my 5-day challenge. And in this challenge, my goal for you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, now all of you, or one of you, doesn't matter. I just want to help women, men too, but I suppose if gentlemen were to watch this, they would gather some information and figure some stuff out about their hair, which would be good. But I'm mostly talking to women right now because I am a woman and I mostly do women's hair, even though I've been trained in barbering and done men's hair and thoroughly enjoyed that time in my life. But for the most part, I'm dealing with women's hair. Okay. So I want to educate women. I'm sorry, I forgot to take my medication this morning because I've been so excited about getting online. So I'm going to get that while I talk to you about this, okay? I am so excited to educate women about their hair so that they have a better understanding of what kind of a hairstylist is looking. Now, I have done this personally with a couple of people now. Oh, yeah, they're in here. Um, and I'm going to tell you a story about one of them today, which honestly was so fun for me being able to. First of all, I kind of had to fire her from my chair because she and I love her as a person. However, I was not a good fit for her hair. Okay. But I'll go into that later. I've got a couple of stories to tell today about people's hair that I've done and people that I've helped with their hair and a couple of things. So today, my main focus, yesterday, if you haven't seen day one, please try and go back and see day one. And I am going to fix this hair mess in front of you because I wanted to do it today so that it would kind of flop in my face and irritate me. And I'm going to show you a trick that you're going to think is, I'll tell stories about it as I do it because it's pretty funny actually. But it's a little trick that I do with my hair to make it stay off my face because that's my thing. All my hair grows forward. I know that about myself. So I figured out ways to figure that out. So anyways, yesterday, I did a drawing on the whiteboard and I showed you about the internal structure of hair and talked about the disulfide bonds and the hydrogen bonds and how we can manipulate them to do things with our hair. Okay, which I did today again. Yesterday, I manipulated my hair to curl back to with heat and cooling. I made it kind of go more like that so that it did stay off of my forehead a little bit. There we go. And today, when I got up, it was still kind of doing that, not 100%, but I grabbed my hot curling tool and I pulled it forward and made it go under instead of going back. Okay. So, and I wanted it to stay there. So I held it in that curl until it cooled off after I'd heated it up. And that is how you manipulate your hair using hydrogen bonds. because hydrogen bonds, if you wet them, they break. If you heat them, they soften. So then when you heat them, a lot of mistakes people make when they're curling their hair or doing the hair with a flat iron is they will do it and they'll run their fingers through it right away. You need to let it cool all the way down. So when you place your curls, let it sit in that curl pattern. If your hair won't stay in that curl pattern, grab a Velcro roller and roll it up and let it cool off that way. But get it super hot first. Not so hot that you're damaging your hair, which is a different ball game altogether. But yeah, the heat will soften the hydrogen bonds, which sit this way within the hair shaft. So they'll get softer and kind of be able to be manipulated to go. When they go in a curl pattern, they're more at an angle. If it's bone straight, then they're more straight across, okay? So you'll be able to manipulate them to stay at that angle and hold that curl until dampness or heat touches it, and then it'll go back to where it was because that's your hair's natural state. So anyways, we talked about that yesterday. I told you a couple of stories. I told you about me and my life and my background with hair. Been doing hair for over 40 years. Can you believe it? Like crazy. Absolutely crazy. Over 40 years I've been doing hair now. But today, what I want to cover with you is I want to cover more about circumference or diameter. A lot of people think that this means thickness, and it actually isn't the only element that means thickness, because we need to know your circumference of your hair, which that's where fine, medium, coarse, those terminologies come in, okay? Is the actual diameter of your hair. And then the other part is density, which means how many hair per square inch. Now, like I said yesterday, I'm not going to make you count your hairs because that would just be mean. That's only for God to know. We don't need to know how many hair per square inch. It's more about how easy is it for you to see your scalp. Okay. So I know I had COVID. When COVID first hit us, I was sick for that first Christmas. Or was it before? I can't remember. It all blends together after a while. But I got the COVID fairly early. My husband got it first, and then I got it, and my poor son didn't get it, and he babysat me. It was kind of wild. But after I was healing from the COVID, like after about, excuse me, about 2 weeks after, like I was down for the count for a week and a half to 2 weeks, and then it took me a full month to go through the recovery, like go through COVID and recover to a I can work again point, okay? And when that happened, I did notice that I felt like I was losing more hair. However, my hair was longer than this then. And as your hair gets longer, you lose more hair. And as far as I know, scientifically, nothing's been proven about that, about the whys. Like, why do you lose more hair when it's longer? I believe that it has to do with the weight of the hair. And that's when the hair goes into the third growth stage and says, okay, you're out of here, dude. We need to make a new one that can grow longer. So that's why it takes forever to grow your hair long. But anyways, I noticed it was like in the next month. So it was probably about a month and a half from getting COVID that I noticed I could see my scalp more. And I was just like, oh man, this is not good. Like when you part your hair, how easy is it to see your scalp? Okay. It was, you could see my scalp. Like right now, it's been a couple years, so my hair is, where are your hair? My hair is back to the density it was before. Thank you, God. But I could see my scalp quite clearly for a while, and I was just like, oh, this is scary. So that is what density is. And the combination of density and circumference are what a lot of people are referring to with thickness. Okay. As a hairstylist, for me, density is density and circumference is circumference. They're two different things. So I take the two into consideration when I'm dealing with hair. So we're also going to learn about how the hair, sorry, I'm going the wrong, no, how the hair grows from the scalp. Okay. Because I want you to know the three different stages of growth that the hair goes through and why that's important for you to know. I get so many people with super long hair freaking out about how much hair they're losing. And this is when I go into scientific mode and explain about all this stuff to them. My mother, who is right now, she's 81 years old, and she washes her hair once a week. And during the week, she does not fully brush through her hair. Like she just has a nice little bob that I give her. Right now it's probably getting a little long, but we cut it nice and short and let it grow for a while and then I cut her hair again. However, she, does a lot of back combing and that kind of stuff usually and washes it once a week. And then she's always like freaking out about how much hair she's losing. And I'm like, well, Mom, are you brushing your hair out every night before you go to bed? She's like, well, no, because that will ruin my style. Okay. So all those hairs that are in the phase of resting or falling out, the falling out ones are just hanging out in there. They're trapped in your back combing. And that compounds over time. Like we lose hair every day. But her hair loss, when you see how much hair she loses, it's a weekly hair loss, not a daily hair loss. But explaining that to an 81-year-old, I think I've explained it to her like half a dozen times now, because it usually comes up more when her hair gets a little bit longer. She starts really noticing it and freaking out. So, that's something to understand, to help you to understand about your hair that, oh, okay, that's normal. Your normal is going to be a little bit different from other people's normal as well. So when, like, I got these little discs, okay? They've got mesh on them so that they'll let water through, but I put it in the bottom of my shower because the drain has all these like holes in it and getting the hair out of that is so gross. So I have put this disc on that I actually got from what's that site? Just super cheap, Temu or Tumu or Temu. I think it's Temu. Um, I got it from Temu I got them for like a couple bucks, and you have to like dry everything off really well. But I put it down over my drain in the shower. So when I'm done in the shower, I can just pick my hair up and throw it in the trash instead of it going down in the thing and getting all slimy and gross and blah, 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 blah. My husband's not very good at cleaning up after himself. So I usually, before I get in the shower, I clean that off. Neither is my son. I clean that off so that I can see what's normal hair loss for me every time I get in the shower. You need to figure out what your normal is before you can determine if it's getting better or worse. And if that involves taking a picture of it so that you can look back on it, then do that. If you think that you are losing more and more hair, start doing that. Start taking pictures of how much hair you're actually losing and just compare it as you go on. So, yeah, just my little tidbit there of something that I do. So, yeah, okay, so we're going to cover circumference and all that stuff. Right now, I want to, sorry, I'm all weird today. I had a good day yesterday, but I stayed up too late because I do that. Why do we do that to ourselves? I don't know. Don't know at all. So right now, I want to tell you about a customer I had again up in Canada. Um, Canada is where I worked full time in the salon most of the time. Okay. So I have a lot of stories from when I lived up in Canada. And I call her my mullet lady. At least I call her that now. When I lived up in Canada, I called her my hockey hair lady because that's what we called it, hockey hair. Because Wayne Gretzky had that hairstyle, and so did all the other hockey players because it could keep their hair in their helmet. Their hair would not get all mushed up, and their curls could hang out the back because most of them got a perm in the back. I know I did that on my brother. Anyways, she had the hockey hair and came to me at when I was at Regis, and of course I tried to talk her out of having the hockey hair because I don't know, I find the hockey hair on ladies is just too masculine looking, although it shouldn't be masculine, but it is. So I did try with her to change up her style a little bit. Instead of going like right above the ears, left it a little bit longer, more of an angle here. And at once it kind of got to that point, she's like, no, no, I need it short again. So we kept going back to it. And that's one thing. If you have a certain style of your hair that you love, whether it's the mullet or a bob or, whatever it is, you love that style on yourself. And there are some people out there, I'm not one of them, but there are people out there that just want the same hairstyle all the time. And if you're one of them, it is what it is, okay? However, you need to talk about that with your hairstylist first, in that you don't want to change it. You just want it to look pretty. Or like whatever it is you want with your hair. You want the same style, you want it brought up an inch or whatever it is, okay? But that's one thing that she was not very upfront with me because I had asked her. I said, "Well, did you want to change your style?" Blah blah blah. She's like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "Well, we could let this grow out a little bit, so it just kind of, so you can just push it back and na 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 na." And so she was willing to try it, but she went right back after it had grown out into that. And it was then that she had told me that it felt the most comfortable to her. It was what she knew how to work with, what she knew. She was comfortable. A lot of people live in what's called the comfort zone, okay? Which means they kind of do the same thing over and over and over and aren't willing to stretch themselves to out of that little pathway. That's your comfort zone. That was her comfort zone, was always getting the mullet haircuts. And back in those days, it was quite popular. A lot of people did them. She did end up liking me, my crazy personality. And it took that one time of growing it out, excuse me, just at the sides, for her to determine that, no, no, this isn't me. However, she told me that nobody had ever asked her if she wanted to try something different. So she did appreciate that about me. So we ended up, she always got the mullet. As long as I was doing her hair after that, it was always that style. I did end up, because in the beginning, you know how the mullet's like super short in the front and then longer in the back. But hers, when she first came, was super short to here, and then all the rest in the back was one length. And I did end up layering that and connecting it better and just making it look a little more, I don't know, cohesive or whatever. But she did appreciate that, and I ended up doing her and her husband and her daughter's hair, and her daughter was so fun. She loved different colors and loved playing with that stuff, which I love too. And she was a different. So what I'm trying to get to here is, yesterday I talked about my customer who I helped her to transform. Okay. Some people don't want to transform. Although she did eventually transform. She always had the mullet, okay? And we always did a perm in the back. But eventually she did let me give her some highlights and make it a little shinier, and stuff like that to improve the look of it. It was still a mullet, but it looked a little bit better, a little more polished. And it's okay if you want to stick with your same style. It is. And as you find a hairstylist, you need to, number one, make sure they know that that's the style you want. You don't want it modified. Um, and they may still, in the beginning, if they don't, if they don't listen to that, I know there's another word I want to use, but it's not coming. They don't want to listen to the fact that you want to stay with the style you have, and right away they're trying to talk you into other things or making other recommendations, then that's a bad sign. That's a, hmm, maybe I shouldn't let you do my hair all the time. Just keep saying no. No, I just want, this is what I want today. If you can't give it to me today, then I'll go find somebody else who can. Thank you. Just leave it at that. But I would not go back to them if that was their attitude. If they had the attitude of, oh, you love your style, great, great. Let's do this today, blah, blah, blah. Do you mind if I blow it out a little differently? Or do you mind, 'cause if they're creative like that and they want to try some different things, they might ask those kind of things. If they're blow drying or styling it differently, that's not a permanent thing, okay? Cutting it is. So is perming, relaxing or straightening with chemicals, and coloring. So that's what I say about that. If you have a style that you love and you're trying to find a new hairstylist, let them know right away. You're like, okay, see how it is sitting here? Here's a picture of what it was when I got it cut last or the time before or whatever. Take a picture, show it to them. Say, that's what I want again. I don't want anything different. I just want this. And use that appointment as your guideline as to whether you're going to go back to them or not. Yeah, there's other aspects of finding a hairstylist, but that's a huge one when it comes to getting the same hairstyle that you have, just wanting it shorter. That's one that works quite well with that. So I am going to go to my. Oh, first off, I'm going to show you with my hair because my hair is driving me nuts right now. So I have some hairspray here. This is my Jacqueline Pro hairspray. I love this stuff. A lot of times with hairspray, you have to get the kind of crusty bits out of the nozzle and just give it one spray to make sure it's working properly. So I'm just going to use hairspray with this. And you may laugh, and that's fine. I've got a mirror beside me here that I'm going to be looking into, okay? So I'm going to, and don't look at my roots, okay? I'm getting them colored tomorrow or the day after. So I'm just going to spray this area, and I'm going to hold it there, okay? I can do this to dry it off a bit. And I'm just going to let it sit like that, okay? I used to call this my Phyllis Diller look. If you know who Phyllis Diller is at all. And sometimes I use a little bit more because I want it to be, I want it to stay off my forehead. I've got this giant forehead and it likes to hang out on it. And there. Okay, so now it's dry. So now I'm just going to break it up in my roots. Now, even if it does fall forward, it's not on my forehead anymore. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I've got this gap here. So it's falling forward still, but it's not right on my forehead, which is awesome. So that's my little hairspray trick with that when my hair is flopping forward. And I'll do the same with the sides. Like when we lived in England, I would do that with my hair. Is I'd turn my head upside down. I had longer hair back then because I ended up not wanting to get my hair cut so much in England because I couldn't find anybody. But I would dump my head upside down and blow dry. And then I would hairspray it upside down because I wouldn't go all the way dry. I wanted my waves to stay there. I just wanted to get rid of the wetness and let it be damp. So I'd hairspray it when it was damp to help keep that curl. And then I would stand up and I would like push my head back and pull my hair up and hairspray everything out. And I would chase my 2-year-old son around the house like that. And if we were going anywhere, I'd be like, okay, I'm ready. No, mommy, no. It was hilarious. So anyways, that's my little funny story. So right now I'm going to show you about the circumference and diameter of the hair. So I'm going to get up, walk behind to my board, push my chair in so I don't trip on it. And I'm going to pull this closer so you can hear me because right now I'm working on I am just using my computer microphone. And I'm sorry if it's difficult to hear. So I'm going to bring this guy right up here. You can see him. I'll be drawing more up here. So circumference is, you can call it circumference or diameter. It's about, when you cut the hair and look at it, it's about how it is that way, okay? There are different terminologies. Oops. There's super fine, fine, medium, thick, and super thick. Now, super thick would be coarse. I don't know if that's the right spelling of course. I think taking a course is C-O-U, but I think coarse hair is C-O-A. I don't know. Anyways, so that's the definition of that. And I'm going to be telling you about my full course, which is C-O-U. I'm going to be telling you about my full course a little bit tomorrow. And then on Friday will be a full representation of the course that I offer. And in that course, I'm going to show you easy, super easy ways to determine your hair circumference. It's like super easy. So there's that, and then there's density, okay? Hair per square inch. In Canada, we did per centimeter, so the number was smaller, but the area was also smaller. This is okay, so that top one is circumference or diameter of the hair. density is hair per square inch. And when we're talking about hair per square inch, I was telling you it involves how well you can see your scalp. Okay. And again, in my course, I have some pictures that represent different hair per square inch values so that you have something to reference when you're looking at yours. Okay. So now the hair grows from the scalp. Okay. I've had a lot of mostly younger people, but there are a lot of misinformed people out there that seem to think that their hair grows from their ends. And I just don't understand that. It's a little bit weird. I'm going to go around and get a different color. It's not the majority of the population that believes that, but I've heard it more than 5 times. And it just boggles my mind. I'm like, oh, no, your hair grows from your scalp. And this is how it works, okay? So here's your, let's see, this represents your head, okay? Now inside here, I'm going to draw it really big. The follicles aren't actually this big, but I want you to be able to see it. Well, maybe I'll just do like this. There's a follicle. But it actually, if you get a magnifying glass, it's going to look like you got your skin, you got your follicle, skin. Oops, that one didn't go well. It's not like just a round ball. It actually comes in and then kind of, they call it a hair bulb. So it does kind of look like a light bulb in a way. So that is the hair follicle that is like on your scalp. There's like however many hairs per square inch you have follicles per square inch. All right. Well, that's general because you might even have more follicles per square inch than hair per square inch because sometimes those follicles are in the early growth phase. All right. So now the hair, let me see, that was blue. I'm going to use green for the hair. The hair comes. Now that's kind of a little exaggerated and big, but this is the hair bulb or the hair root that sits inside the follicle. And the follicle feeds it from here. Okay. So it's feeding nutrients to the hair, and the hair has like a little right here where that plugs in to feed it. Okay. So that's now a little bit about the hair follicle. The hair follicle is what determines your texture, which texture is whether your hair is straight, wavy, curly, zigzaggy, all these things, all the different ways that your hair grows out of your head, okay? So I've read a few different articles, and I really think it's a combination of things that determines curl pattern, okay? Some of these articles that I've read are basically saying that the follicle on someone with curlier hair is flatter, like kind of squished. Um, so like wavy hair would be less round here. Um, I don't know exactly how to draw it. Something like that though. However, this is part science, part me, okay? So you can see how this follicle is coming straight in and out of the head. To me, that would create a straight hair, all right? Whereas if the follicle comes in and is slanted, the hair is going to come out this way. And if it's just slightly slanted, it's going to be a looser wave. And if it's like almost like diagonal, it's going to be that's what I believe part of it is. I think it has to do with the flatness of the follicle, but it also has to do with how the angle is that it's growing out of the head. I believe those are the two things that are affecting your growth pattern. Now, down here, let me see. I'm gonna work and move this chair. Oh, oh, there we go. I'm gonna bring it in here. So now I'm going to talk about your 3 different growth cycles, okay? So number 1, oops, 1. Oh, no. That one has to go away. Bye-bye. Where's my little container? I'm going to go back to the dark blue. I find the lighter colors aren't working as well on this. And that was my insulin pump, so yeah. Okay. You need to leave me alone right now. Oh, sorry, it needs my attention for a moment. It's not happy with me right now. I had a really high blood sugar yesterday because we had calzone for dinner. And I usually don't eat that high carbohydrate stuff. Okay, so the first growth phase, and if my spelling is incorrect, I apologize. I'm not the best speller on the planet, is anagen. Now, in the anagen phase, this is very active. The nutrients coming to the hair, and the hair is not really growing very much. It is, strongly developing from within the follicle. So this is inside the follicle. Use this one. Okay. Inside follicle production, I guess I'll call it. All right. So that's the anagen. And then we have one called catagen. Now, how I remembered the catagen is because it has cat in it, and I love cats. So, so yeah, I won't go. I'll tell you something else a little bit later after I go through this, okay? Because there's a funny one about how I remembered certain Latin terms when I was in school, and it's pretty funny. So, catagen is when the hair actually comes out and grows. It's like the growth phase. Okay. And then, what color am I going to use now? The third one, which a lot of people don't fully understand about, is the telogen. And telogen is one of 2 things. Either your hair is resting in a phase, or it's done and it's falling out, and a new hair, then that follicle, if it's a falling out, that follicle will take a rest, and then it will start developing a new hair, generally. Okay. So telogen is resting or falling out, then resting. Okay. So those are the 3 hair growth phases. Oh, where's my little container? There it is. That I want you all to understand, okay? So again, there's your thickness of hair or circumference or diameter that you would be learning. Like I say, I don't have the time to go over all of this in depth on this challenge. And this is basically my challenge is an introduction to what you could get in my course. If this challenge is enough for you to get past the obstacles of finding a hairstylist on your own, double high five. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. If you would like more information and to be able to break this down and actually figure out your hair, and also there's other things that will be in the course about this, then talk to me. I will be presenting about what's included in the course fully on day 5, a little bit tomorrow, and if it's a fit for you, it's a fit for you. Just let me know. If you need more information, reach out to me. I can talk to you. Okay? So there's that. So we've got this under wraps right now. Okay, so I wanted to tell you. So when I was in cosmetology school, we don't just learn about hair. You also learn about skin and nails and all that kind of stuff, okay? When we were learning about nails, we were learning about all sorts of nail issues and diseases like ingrown toenails and ingrown nails and what do you call it? The cuticle thing, um, hangnails, all these kind of things that can happen, and some pretty gross ones, I have to tell you. I don't really remember the gross ones because I don't want to see them. But sorry. But there's one that will stick with me for the rest of my life. Like, we were trying to, because they all have medical terminology, which is Latin. And the one we were all trying to come up, I can't remember what it's called. When you come up with things that that remind you of the word or whatever. I can't remember. It's called something. We were doing that in class. And everybody was trying to figure things out. And I looked at this one. It was called onycryptosis. And that is the medical terminology for hangnails. And I looked at it and I said, huh, Superman has hangnails. Cryptosis. That's how I remember onycryptosis. Superman has hangnails. So, and I did that with the other ones, but I honestly, that's the one that sticks out the most to me because I came up with it. The other ones, the other people kind of came up with, and we shared. And probably the ones that they personally came up with are the ones that stuck with them, or not. I don't know. So yeah, I thought that was funny. I don't know if you think it's funny, but so yeah. So we cover circumference, diameter, da 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 da. Okay. Now I want to tell you a story about a customer that came to me when I was in my salon studio. Now, this customer, she really liked me, okay? And I liked her too. There's no two ways about that. I thought she was a nice person. I enjoyed spending time with her. However, she had the circumference of her hair was not coarse, but almost. She had a natural wave and her density was pretty high as well. Like, oh my gosh. Even like she'd come and get colors, and you need a lot more color than most people. When I'd split her hair, you couldn't see her scalp unless you like flattened it down. Like it was that dense. And like I say, I liked her. I did her hair like 4 or 5 times. She came in for colors. We did some highlights. We did, full head color, that kind of stuff. And then I had to raise my prices because my salon rent was going up, product prices were going up, like just everything. I had said to you, like I told you yesterday, how I ended up having to close down my solo salon suites. And when she first started coming to me, I was building, and then you kind of go through this building phase, and then you have to refine it, and then you have to build some more, and you never stop building, really. So I was in the refining phase, had to adjust my prices a little bit. She didn't like it, but she still kept coming to me, and every time she'd bitch about the prices, and it just turned into not very much fun for me. How's that? It made me, when I saw her on my books, I was like, oh no, not her. Oh man. Like her hair took me at least an hour longer than everybody else. Just mostly for blow dry time because she liked it blow dried straight. And oh my goodness, like sorry. So I finally I had a conversation with her, and I just said to her, I said, look, I don't feel like I'm the right fit stylist for you. I just don't. My skill set is more with finer hair, and this thick hair is really difficult for me. Like it's hard. I don't feel like it's my wheelhouse. And of course, she was like, no, 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 I love hanging out with you. I love it when you do my hair, blah, 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 blah. Because she had also told me that when she goes home, she fixes her hair. Like, she didn't like how I styled it. So I knew I wasn't a right fit for her, but she wouldn't admit it. So I made a deal with her. I said to her, I said, okay, tell you what, I'm going to talk to some of the girls here at the salon suites and find someone that I think would be a good fit for you. Would you be willing to give them a try? And she was like, oh, okay, I suppose I could do that. So I walked her through. I said, okay, here's how you're going to interview that stylist. These are the things you're going to tell her about yourself, tell her about your hair. Gave her kind of a loose formula of what to talk about with the stylist. And I think it was the second stylist that I referred her to, that it wasn't just a fit of she liked working on thicker wavy hair, but she also had, I think the first one was a little more of a personality clash. The second one was more like a fit for them. So she did end up going to that new person and ended up loving her hair. And she and I ended up still being friends. So I was able to get through that transition. It it was really difficult to have that first conversation, I have to say. And if someone was sitting in my chair and said that to me, I would be fine with it. So if someone said to me, Tammy, I really like you. I really like, we have fun together. You're an awesome person and I'd love to be your friend. However, I don't think you are a right fit for my hair. Like, I would have been fine with that. Maybe there's other hairstylists out there who wouldn't, but I understand that because my wheelhouse is I love doing perms and I love doing colors. Okay. Colors are really my forte. But I've done perms since day one. Like we did like, gosh, usually you did 2 or 3 perms every day, sometimes color. I mean, back then we were pulling color through a streaking cap doing highlights, so that wasn't my favorite to do back then. We kind of learned about the whole foiling techniques and all that stuff as time went on. And I loved to do those things. So those became, I won color contests. Sorry, got a lot of certificates about color, learned a lot about color. I love, 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 love coloring hair. And I love cutting hair. I'm not, I know a lot of styling tips and tricks and whatnot, but styling is not my favorite thing to do. It just isn't. I'd rather be able to blow dry it wild and then fix it at the end. Some people want it like totally blow dried with a big round brush from wet to dry, and that's not me. That's not me. I know the things that I love to do, and I would rather do the things I love to do. Once in a while, once in a while, once in a while, I will try new things. So when I was working at the J.C. Penney salon, I had a young girl come in. I miss her. She was so awesome. She was a young black lady, and she wanted me to style her hair for her. She went somewhere. She was from Chicago, and when she went home to Chicago, she would have her hair relaxed, and she'd just come to me for getting it styled. And the first time she came, I was like, "Okay, girlfriend, I don't understand your hair. I don't. If you're okay with that, if you're okay with letting me play and figure this out, then we'll go forward with that." And she was like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that." And I learned so much by styling her hair for her, and I had so much fun with her. She was going to college here. I think she's back in Chicago now. But I loved her. And I loved that she gave me the opportunity to be able to play with her hair because I had honestly the like she had the curl the curl pattern that was more of a zigzag and would just suction cup to her head. And after doing her hair, I got into experimenting and doing like, um, I can't remember what you call it. You just spin the hair and then till it goes into like a little knot on the head. And I had a foster daughter who was African American, and I played with her hair that way. I loved it. I still don't understand, and I am not going to do a relaxer on that kind of hair because relaxers scare the living daylights out of me. The only thing I would do is a Brazilian blowout, which will help relax it but won't take it straight. So I did a Brazilian blowout on my foster daughter because I was like, huh, I wonder how that would work on your hair. And so her hair would tangle up into such a mess all the time. It was just because it was zigzaggy. It was crazy. And so I did the Brazilian blowout on her. And after I did that, it's like it creates this shield over the hair. And it made it so that her hair didn't tangle up so much. And it just made it so that it was easier for me to do stuff with. So it doing that one young lady's hair opened up this whole world of me being able to experiment, get out of my comfort zone, but not way out there out of my comfort zone. Like I refuse. I did one of those relaxers on a mannequin in school and the hair dissolved and it was the grossest thing I've ever seen and I will never ever touch those things again. Sorry, they scare me. I I watch other people do it and I'm like, "Ooh," like that's the most intense chemicals a hairstylist will use. And like I say, it scares me. I don't want to destroy my disulfide bonds in anybody's hair. But there are people out there that they understand that and they know how to work with those products and they're great at it. And you can shop around for those type of people, but just when you're in the shopping phase of trying to find your hairstylist, make sure that you are not scheduling for any chemicals right off the bat. And sometimes you can schedule for a haircut, but I say just schedule for a blow dry, blow dry, shampoo, blow dry, flat iron, excuse me, whatever it is that you want to do. You want to wear something different? You want to take your straight hair and be curly? Hey, I'll try a hairstylist out and let them shampoo and blow dry and curl my hair for me. And that way you get a feel for each other. That way they get to know your hair. That way you get to have conversation about it. Another thing is make sure when you go to see a hairstylist that they're giving you a full consultation. A full consultation involves you not going straight to the shampoo bowl, you sitting in their chair and talking about your lifestyle, about your what your desire is, having pictures to talk about, all these things. They're like super important in figuring this out. And from there, letting them work on styling your hair. And a lot of times you can determine from that if they're a right fit for you. Because sometimes they don't know how to style your hair type. And a lot of stylists out there won't admit to that. They'll just plug through and try to get it done for you. So those are a few things. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. I hope you can join me tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Same place, same time. And tomorrow, let me see what we're talking about tomorrow. Day 3. Day 3 is going to be about communicating with that hairstylist with grace. So I know a lot of ladies I've talked to about this, they're afraid to say certain things. They kind of clam up because they don't know what to say, that kind of stuff. So I want to help you to have some things, some questions to ask, some things to talk about, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that we're going to talk about tomorrow. And I will give you a little introduction to what will be in my course that I will have available. And yeah, for anybody who wants to take advantage of my course now, today is December 12th, 2023. So in this challenge, this is my very first challenge that I'm doing. And I am looking for a beta group to go through my course with me. If you are interested in being part of my beta group, please send me a text, what do you call it? I call it all text messages. Send me a message through Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you're seeing this video, just send a message. Or my email address is tami@tamigrgas.com. Okay, so again, that's tamigrgas.com. Send me an email saying that you're interested in the beta group and we'll have a discussion. Okay, I'd like to know what's going on with your hair. Part of being in that group will be, depending on how many people I get into the beta group, it's going to involve doing like consultations with you in an open forum so that other people can see how I'm consulting, because a lot of times just getting the consultation will help someone, but sometimes seeing someone have a consultation gives them ideas on how they'll approach a consultation and whatnot. So I hope you can join me in my beta group. I would love it. It's going to be, I just want to disrupt the beauty industry and help you women to understand about your hair and figure out how to find your hairstylist. She's out there or he's out there. You just have to be willing to go through these steps to get there. And I would love to be the one to help you. So again, my email, TAMI at TAMIGRGAS.com. So it's Tammy at TammyGurgis.com. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Bye. Double high five. Sorry.